All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. The time is 6:04 p.m., and I hereby call this meeting of the Student Senate to order. We'll begin with a roll call. When I call your name, please say here or present. Iono Dimhoff, Moran, Rahman, Rolls, Reinhardt, Marcus, Jones, No Jones, Helzer, O'Connor, Shin, Utica, Hallen, Nievenhoven, Ekun, Azan, Kameyer, Pedasani, Hartley, Agarwal, Shamsai, Farragher, Snyder, Momini, Nondal, James, Bailey, Johnson, Dugan, Neal, Sloop, Persley, and Cronin. With that, we do have quorum for the evening. With that, we'll move into the Pledge of Allegiance, led for the first time by the Sergeant at Arms. And with that, seeing no official program for this evening, we'll move directly into open forum. Open forum shall serve as an opportunity for students or anyone to speak about issues relevant to the student body. If you're here tonight for open forum, I would ask that you approach the podium at this time. And I would ask once again our senators to close or mostly close their laptops as a sign of respect for tonight's speaker. This time is yours.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amanda Knief, and I'm the director of the lectures program here at Iowa State. And I'm here to give you kind of a summary of what happened last year, what we've been doing this year, and take any questions that you have. The lectures program is a joint program between student government and the Office of the Provost. Right now, we are in the second of a 5-year contract with student government to receive funding to help students and student groups bring speakers to Iowa State. Those can be politicians, activists, authors, speakers who just have interesting things to say. It can also be researchers and scientists. So we help with a variety of things. And then on the other side, the Office of the Provost pays my salary and that of our assistant director, as well as some student workers, to help facilitate and help with the logistics of those events, and also to help faculty who want to bring in speakers that would also be of use and relevant and interesting to students. So last year, we did 76 events. We facilitated or helped with 76 events. We had almost 7,000 attendees that we were able to count. For fall 2024, we were really busy. We had 47 events that we helped with, already more than 4,000 attendees. Our biggest event was with Damon John from Shark Tank. We focused a lot more on student engagement starting this year, and we had an additional 25 events that brought speakers and students together. Sometimes that was a class visit. Most often it was either a meal or a small group Q&A, where the students had a chance to really get in depth on the speaker's knowledge or their background in a more relaxed setting. For spring 2025, right now we have 30 events on the calendar, and there's probably at least a dozen more that are in the works. We've worked with over a dozen different student groups in the past year and a half. Some of them include GPSS, the Classics Club, Turning Point, Multicultural Student Affairs, the Political Science Club, eVenture, American Cancer Society on Campus, the Muslim Student Association, Young Americans for Freedom, the Culinary Science Club, Engineers Week, the Sustainable Agriculture Student Association, and WISE. And next year, we have 2 new series that we're going to launch. One is called Spotlight ISU. We are planning to partner with the Vice President of Research to highlight research that faculty and researchers are doing on campus. We have plans then this summer to start working with the grad college to also help grad students come and do a short lecture about the research they're doing. We hope that this will give students an opportunity to learn more about the amazing things that are happening on campus right here at this university. We're also, due to student demand, going to launch a True Crime ISU, a truly creepy series, and it's going to start by featuring some of the folks at Iowa State that do work related to crime and forensics. and then we will branch into other things as we move on. So that's kind of a little bit about what we do. I would be happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you very much. With that, I would happily open the floor for any questions. Seeing none, thank you again. We really appreciate your time.
I would like one thing. If you have somebody that you want to bring to campus, send us an email. We're really easy to find, lectures@iastate.com or .edu, or come see us, or on the website. And also tell your friends. I mean, we will take just about anything, and if we can make it work, we want to help students bring people they are interested to campus. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, is there anyone else here tonight for open forum? Seeing no one else, we'll move into adopting this evening's, oh, pardon me. Once again, I would ask that we keep laptops closed or mostly closed as a sign of respect, to tonight's speaker. This time's yours.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful break and a chance to recharge and relax away from classes and your stugov responsibilities, even though I know we'll never be able to get away from our positions ever. But I'll keep this brief. Effective immediately, I am stepping down from being the Residence Hall Senator and resigning from all my committee positions. This decision has come due to personal conflicts that have arose during winter break, and my personal problems require my fullest of attention, and this decision was not taken very lightly. And I believe that this role of being senator demands and deserves more time and focus than I can give it. Stepping down is not an easy decision for me. I've always held myself to a high standard, and I feel as though I'm letting you all down. However, I hope you understand that this is something I must do at this time. That said, I'm not leaving student government entirely. I plan to stay involved by attending Senate meetings and continuing to lay the groundwork for the Safe Ride project and all my other commitments that aren't tied up with my role as being a senator. Looking ahead, I intend to run in the upcoming election, possibly as a senator or even aim for a cabinet position. To me, this is not a goodbye. It's a see you soon. This is a decision that was made after discussing with Brad, who kindly offered me the option to step down without making it public. However, I believe that you all deserve to hear it from me directly, not through a letter or from any of our advisors, Brad, Chad, or Christine. I have cherished every opportunity that I've had to work alongside you and count many of you as my close friends. Delivering this message to you in person felt as the only right way to express my gratitude and respect towards all of you. Thank you for the wonderful memories and your support. I wish you all the best in your classes and success in the remainder of your terms. Also, please do not hesitate to reach out to me if you guys feel that you need my aid or assistance. I will try to make myself available to the best of my ability. Thank you very much. Go Cyclones.
Thank you, Heymuth. With that, I would ask if anyone else is here tonight for open forum. All right, with that, seeing none, we'll move into adopting this evening's agenda. Are there any amendments before we do so? Speaker Momini.
Is this working? Okay. First agenda back, and I forgot a couple of things. So per the bylaw that we passed, first I would like to motion to add comments from the Election Commission beneath comments from the Executive Branch. Can I
Oh,
do
you're
that?
saying, I
Yeah.
gotcha.
I'm gonna do, yeah, okay. And then,
You could accept that as a friendly if you wish.
okay, sure. And then I motion to add 2025-3-002 SG to the bottom of special orders.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded to add item 002 SG to the bottom of special orders, I believe.
And then,
Sorry, one moment. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the amendment shall be made.
and then I motion to add 2025-3-003F to the bottom of new business.
Moved and seconded to add item 003F to the bottom of new business. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the amendment shall be made. Are there any further amendments before we adopt this evening's agenda? If not, is there a motion to adopt the agenda? Second? Moved and seconded. Any objections to this agenda? Seeing none, it shall be adopted. With that, we'll move into the approval of the previous minutes. Is there a motion to do so? One of those become a second? Moved and seconded. Any objections to the previous minutes? Seeing none, they shall be approved. With that, we'll move directly into committee reports, starting with the Rules Committee and Speaker Momini.
All right, it's me again. I'm going to keep it short. Rules meets tomorrow at 5:20. We have a pretty short agenda, and we'll meet on Thursdays at 5:20 in the MU. I'll be back with a room number for next week. And we have, after tonight, one open position on the committee. So if you're interested, please reach out. We will be seeing a senator, Senator Marcus. He's already attended our meetings, and it's been lovely. And I yield.
With that, the floor is open for any questions or comments for the Rules Committee. Seeing none, we'll move on to the Finance Committee.
Evening all. Not much for me tonight. We will be presenting, as we just saw being added to the agenda, our P&C document to be on first read. So for those of you who don't know, that's our priorities and criteria document, which states what student government can and cannot fund and who student government can and cannot fund. So please read over that carefully over the next week as you'll be voting on that. And that will be the guidelines for the Finance Committee for the upcoming annual allocations. If you have any questions, just let me know.
All right, with that, the floor is open for any questions or comments. Seeing none, next is the PR Committee.
Hey guys, it's good to be back. I have a few things here in terms of outreach. Next week is Club Fest, and we're still looking for volunteers. It'll be from 11 to 4 here at the MU. I think I'll be around from 2 to 4 to help out with that, but we're only allowed to have 2 people staff the table at once. As usual, you can sign up for that in the Outreach tab in the MIS. Also, I sent a message today about our collaboration with Iowa State Athletics. We're going to be holding a panel for Gilbert Middle School students. They'll be visiting on Wednesday, February 5th. The panel will be a discussion about how to build prioritization skills. We're looking for 2 to 3 members to join President Hirsch, who will be talking on the panel. We'll need to let them know who's all planning on volunteering by this Friday. Once again, to sign up for that in the MIS or just reach out to me because we need, yes, Josie.
To sign up, do you have to be there the whole time?
Not the whole time, but part of it. I think they want us to be there by 11:30, and it's from 12 to 2 after that. So
Thanks.
it's, yeah. Once again, that's Wednesday, February 5th. So if you're interested, just reach out to me and I can answer some questions. Mass emails will be sent out soon regarding the new parking ticket relief program and the Know Your Leaders Town Hall series. They're also looking for volunteers for that. In terms of IT, we have a new page on the website for both the parking ticket relief program and the Know Your Leaders Town Hall series. For marketing, Chase is using our brand new camera to take pictures of the meeting tonight. We'll be making posts to promote the parking ticket relief and the Know Your Leaders Town Hall series. And the first episode of the podcast is set to release pretty soon. That's all I got.
Any further questions or comments for the PR Committee?
Can you answer me?
Go ahead.
Bob?
Where can I watch this podcast?
Eric?
The student government, I think it should just be Iowa State Student Government. It'll be that YouTube channel, the same one that we'd use to post the old podcast on.
Awesome.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, with that, we'll move on to the Idea Committee.
So we're starting to look for the town hall. That's going to be 3rd week of February, I'm pretty sure. And if anyone could help out, we would love that. We still have to find out our meeting, so if my senators could feel the wind to me, that would be great. Thank you. And I'm going to start discussing this spring break meal plan, something with residents and dining.
Any questions or comments for the Idea Committee? All right, seeing none, with that, we'll move on to the Events Committee.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm sure you all had a great break. We have been busy working on the Know Your Leaders series town hall. I'm sure you're wondering, what is that? I've never heard of it before. Basically, every Tuesday night in February, we'll be hosting like a town hall panel. It'll be in Carver 101 from 6 p.m. to 7:30 about. And we have already invited a lot of industry leaders, or not industry leaders, community leaders, whether it's ISU PD, career services, ISU dining, a whole bunch of different ones. We also have a very exciting guest from Iowa State Athletics who's going to be coming. And these will all be on the Tuesday nights. So the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. As Eric shared, we do need volunteers, probably about 2 or 3 people for each event. So if you want to help get people, swipe their IDs or scan the QR code so that there can be questions asked, or just overall, if you're good at technology, we would love your help for general assistance. Also, we are still looking for 1 or 2 people for our 3rd night, which is student success. So that'd be in finance and international. So if you know anybody who'd be really good to talk about student finances or international students, neither of those people we invited were able to attend. So if you have any questions about this, please let us know. Please sign up because we really need help. And yeah, thank you.
Are there any questions for events? Seeing none, we'll move on to local affairs.
Okay, hi guys. So tonight we have the floor election for SciRide. I'm the other student representative for SciRide, so I just wanted to highlight a few achievements that SciRide has, and one of those is 4.1 million rides in 2022. SciRide is the most used public transport system in the state of Iowa, which is pretty great. Get excited. And then also at some point in the last 8 years, I'm not sure if COVID affected this or not, so don't quote me 100%, but I can figure this out for you. We were 3rd in the nation for ridership per capita. That's an incredible feat, you guys. We were just behind San Francisco and New York. That's crazy. 3rd in the nation, ridership per capita. That's great, guys. Also, we have some committees open at the city. So any adult student is able to join a city board or commission as long as you have an Ames address. That includes your dorm room, so you can apply for any of those. If you have any questions about the city boards or commissions, I'm going to send a link that has a list of all the openings and just a general information portion about what the boards and commissions do. You can reach out to me and I can direct you in the right direction for figuring out if you want to join or not. We have one city board position that is not selected by a student government, not selected by you guys at student government, but it's reserved specifically for a student. And that would be the Property Maintenance and Appeals Board. They hear appeals related to rental housing code, and one position is specifically for a student tenant. We've had some problems filling this position, so anyone who's interested or knows anyone that's interested, please send them my way so we can get that all sorted and filled. We'd love to have that position filled. The joint meeting this semester is going to be on March 26th. Our team is working on the agenda right now. We hope to have it to you by February 19th is my goal, and that gives you a little bit over a month to review it. Come to me with questions, any additions you might want to have, we can put on there. Yeah, there's one other board or commission, and that's the Campus Community and Commission. That is a student government appointed position. There are 2 spots, so we can talk more about that if you guys would like, but that would be something you'd have to talk to all of us about. You'd have to probably get interviewed by Senate and then fill the seat, but that's all I have for you guys. Please reach out to me if you have any questions about those boards or commissions, or if you're interested in joining them. Look out for the link I'm going to send you during the meeting, and that's all.
With that, the floor is open for any questions or comments. Being none, we'll move on then to sustainability.
Hi guys, I hope everyone had a good break. We don't really have much going on yet. We had our first meeting today, which is super exciting of the semester, and we're completely full, which is so great. But yeah, we're kind of just getting everything rolling. We have a lot of goals to get all of our Green Initiatives funds done by spring break so we can get that all going. So I'm sure in February and early March, we'll have a lot to update you guys on.
Once again, the floor is open. No questions or comments. We'll move on to health and wellness.
Hey guys, health and wellness will meet next Tuesday. Over break, we did some planning for Wolfson Wellness. That's looking like it's going to happen on March 7th in the library in the well-being space. We're doing some planning right now with the dog availability and the library availability. So barring that both of those work for that date, that is when we'll have it. And we're also going to be starting to schedule some meetings with Chief Newton on the safety walk, which we're planning to have in April. So those are a couple events that we're looking forward to in the health and wellness.
Any questions or comments for health and wellness? Being none, we'll move on then to the legislative ambassadors.
Hi, everyone. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas break. Pretty busy going into that legislative season here. We're going to the Capitol for the first time on Tuesday. I think we have 6 or 7 of our committee members signed up. Over break, sent out 85 emails to all different legislators through all different committees and pieces of the Capitol. And then we have 4 meetings already our first day, and more responses come in every day. So people are very excited to meet with us and hear our goals for the year. And then we're also working on preparing for our trip to Washington, D.C. for Big 12 on the Hill. So that will be February 23rd through the 25th.
With that, the floor is once again open. Seeing no questions or comments, we'll move into that other category. This is an opportunity for any of you to share about committees that are not otherwise represented on tonight's agenda. Seeing no miscellaneous updates, we'll then move into comments from the judicial branch. All right. Seeing none, we'll move into comments from our advisor.
Hey everybody, I see Santi's here, so I'm not going to steal his thunder like Christine asked me to. But just welcome back. We're starting the semester. There's quite a bit going on. So please make sure that as you're doing this, you're staying engaged, you're answering emails and all those types of things, because as we get into this cycle, we're going to start being busy. That being said, with what Santi is going to be presenting to you here in a little bit about the timetable for elections, please, please, please remember, we can't stress this enough, is while this is coming to the end of one session of student government, that does not mean the jobs are complete. So while we're going to start getting campaigning and all this kind of stuff, 2 things to remember, please. 1, there is no campaigning in student government offices. There's no campaigning in this body and all that kind of stuff, okay? But also, please understand that you were elected to do something this semester, so let's make sure that we also keep that in our forefront, please. So with that, all 3 of your advisors wish you a good semester and hope that y'all have one of the best semesters that you've ever had. Thanks.
Any questions for our advisor? Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the executive branch with President Hirsch.
Great. Hey, everyone. I hope you had a good winter break. If you guys could close your laptop screens, that'd be awesome. I want to start by recognizing, I was going to say Senator Hamath, but Hamath, man, you've done such a great job this past semester, and it's been awesome to witness your growth. And I want to do another round of applause for Hamath. Thank you. I do think you embody everything it means to be a student government senator. So thank you, Hamath, for all your hard work, and we're happy you're still going to be involved here with student government. And so the first thing I would like to talk about, I sent an email on Monday. I know it was really long. Okay, I'm sorry, but we've done a lot of stuff, so you're gonna have to read it. One of the things on there that I want to talk about, and you need to save the date for, is one of the required action items, RSVP for the student government inauguration, April 21st. So if you haven't already, take a look at that. Please RSVP, yes, no, maybe, but we'd like to see you guys there. And then also RSVP for the spring semester joint Senate meeting between the Ames City Council and Faculty Senate. Obviously, we know what the Ames City Council is, but we also have the Faculty Senate meeting. This is the first of its kind. We're super excited. Thank you, Director Frost, for your leadership there. there. We couldn't be more excited. Faculty Senate couldn't be more excited either because they want to get to know us too. Because if you're not familiar with Faculty Senate, they oversee the academic handbook. That influences all of our lives. And one of the proposals that we're working on right now that's already on their calendar is to eliminate exams during prep week. So for that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no longer having exams on prep week. And so we're super excited about that. But that's one of the things that we'll be able to discuss during that Faculty Senate joint meeting between student government. So please RSVP there if you haven't already. We have a couple other things for you. We heard about it already from Eric, but Club Fest, it's super important what we're doing with Club Fest. We went through the list of everyone that's gotten involved or at least signed up. 15% of the names that people signed up with, we've converted into members. I mean, Claire, right there. Aiden, yep. Member from Club Fest, right? So Club Fest is really important. It's how we get members in student government. It's how we retain people. And so it's really important that we have student government members that are going to Club Fest and helping him with setting that up. So that's really exciting. And then I want to talk about a couple other things that's going on at the university level that affect student government. There was a new RFP that was put out by the Memorial Union and ISU Dining. An RFP is a request for proposal. And so that's for a new spot in the Memorial Union for dining related. And so this is a really big deal, and we're super excited about it. And we want to thank our partners there for their leadership there. We have the Know Your Leaders Town Hall series. Holly and Monet have been working incredibly hard on it. Exactly what Holly said. It's the Tuesday of every week for all of February. And so if we can get support there, that'd be awesome. Parking ticket relief programs here. We're super excited. We launched that, 2 days ago? We already had our first person that submitted a request for help us pay for their ticket. And think about how awesome this is, okay? So now we're helping a student that got an unexpected expense, and in return, what are they doing? They're volunteering at shops, students helping our food, a food pantry on campus to combat food insecurity. I mean, this is pretty cool. And not just the program's awesome because they need volunteers, and it ties back to that executive order I signed on day one, combating food insecurity on campus. But what's really cool too, maybe they go and they volunteer at shop and they're not exactly sure, what shop is, but they had a really good time and they enjoy what they're doing because they're fun people over there and it's a great cause. And so maybe they're repeat volunteers, and it's not about paying off a parking ticket anymore. It's because they genuinely want to support their peers on campus. So really excited about that. We already have our first person, and he's in the list there. And so those are the updates that I have, and we're super excited with everything that we have going on. And, we still have 4 more months left and finish strong.
With that, are there any questions or comments for the executive? Seeing none, we'll move on to comments from the Election Commission.
Hey everybody, in case you don't know me, I'm Santi Fajardo. I'm the election commissioner this year. So really exciting stuff. So we're coming up on our campaign season. So in case you didn't know, today we held our first Senate information seminar. We will be holding 2 more. We'll be holding our next one tomorrow at 5 p.m. in room 1560N. So that's down to the student engagement office. It's the conference room. I'll be standing there if you can't find it. So I really strongly encourage each and every one of you, if you're even just thinking about returning as a senator, come either tomorrow or Friday, and then Friday will be at the same time in the Oak Room. So you can go on the student government website. There's a little link that says elections, and if you click information for a candidate, you can see all of our timeline and stuff there. So we're really, really strongly encourage each and every one of you to just come and see. Even if you're not fully sure, just come and see and see if you want to run again. So we'll be starting campaigning on February 1st. And as Brad said, there's specific rules and regulations, like not campaigning in here, but again, and if you are interested in running for an executive position, so president, vice president, we will be holding our seminars in room 1560N tomorrow at 6 p.m. and then in the Oak Room at that same time, 6 p.m. So we really hope to see you all there. We really want to have a very competitive election cycle. I've been joking around the commission that I want more people than their seats because that encourages competition, that encourages people to be actively campaigning and reaching out to the constituents, and that's a win-win for the student body because that means we're getting the best people in student government. So I really hope to see you guys there at the info sessions, but that's all I got for you guys.
All right, any questions or comments for the commission? Seeing none, we'll move into our business for this evening. So seeing no external matters, we'll start with internal matters, special orders. Speaker Momini.
I motion to table 2025, that sounds weird in my head, I'm sorry, 2025-3-001 SC for 1 week.
Is there a second? Moved and seconded to table 001 SC for 1 week. Are there any objections to doing so? No objections, it shall be tabled. And I would entertain a motion to add Senator Jones to the roll. Any objections? None, she shall be added. All right. Pardon me? Senator Snyder? Technically, I'm not sure the procedure on if that would be required, but I appreciate it. Technically, I believe you'd be off the roll when you in the role, but I do appreciate it. No worries at all. You made me think there for a second, though. With that, we'll move on then to item 2025-3-001SG, electing a senator to the SIRIDE Board of Trustees. And so the process on this is a little bit different just for our new senators than the bills we traditionally look at. This is called a floor election, and so there's a couple different phases. You'll have multiple opportunities to ask questions of the candidates, and I'll try to kind of give you a brief introduction to each segment of this, each section as we get there. But there's not an opening statement on this, and so without objection, the first part, I would open the floor for nominations. You can nominate yourself or someone else, starting with Senator Rolls. Do you accept? There we go. Are there any further nominations? O'Connor. Right. Are there any further nominations? Being none, without objection, I'll close the floor to nominations. Being no objections, the floor is closed. All right, so Senator Snyder, you can make your way up there. And so just to begin, checking my time note there. So just to begin, you each will have an opportunity for an opening statement in the order in which you are nominated. So we'll start with Senator Rolls and then Senator Snyder. You'll have 5 minutes for your opening statement. I'll tap my gavel when you're at 30 seconds. And then afterwards, we'll open the floor for questions. So Senator Rolls, this time is yours.
Alrighty. Hello, everybody. I don't know how much of you remember my initial SIRIDE speech that I had a year ago, and frankly, I don't either. So I kind of wanted to kind of echo what Emily said. Goodness. SIRIDE is one of the most important organizations in Ames, even on campus. We were at one point third in the nation for ridership. That's kind of incredible. It's like, I still use SIRIDE a lot, and I feel like a lot of you guys too. Obviously, it's used by a lot of students, and it's important that we keep SIRIDE operating at peak efficiency. And even I've had some personal meetings with SIRIDE initially to discuss some improvements at one point. I kind of put it on the back burner, but it's still really important to listen to our students and our peers to figure out what we can do to SIRIDE to make it better than it is currently, because there's always room for improvement, and I feel like that's a good place to start on. Just hearing out what all our students have to say and improve our already great transportation as much as we can. And I've been great friends with Emily, even since last year, since we first met her. And I feel like a good partnership makes a really good team, especially helping our students. I feel like great collaboration and great communication really helps build our success. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jake Snyder. I'm a UROC senator, and as I'm sure a lot of you know, I don't have a primary mode of transportation. You'll see me skating around campus on my longboard at all times, right? So as someone who doesn't have a car, I depend a lot on the goodness of my friends around me and public transportation. I use SIRIDE every day, daily, to get to my house to the library, from my house to work, from SUV to downtown last summer when no one was in Ames, from the dorms to my gym freshman year, right? There's so many elements of SIRIDE that I know and am aware of because of my extensive experience with this government organization. So with that in mind, I think that I'm a great fit for this position. There are very few rides and stops that I am unaware of at SIRIDE because I've used it so much, my 3.5 years that I've been here. As a student representative, I would aim to make SIRIDE more accurate for the Iowa State population, to increase accessibility of paper schedules, such as putting them in popular transit zones, such as Friley Hall or the Memorial Union right out front. Additionally, I would try to make the SIRIDE app more reliable because, as you know, if you've ever checked, some routes are just straight missing. And the installation of TVs at stops such as Friley Hall with accurate information, I think is a great addition to our SIRIDE program. Thank you for your consideration. I appreciate your time.
All right, I'd like to thank both of our candidates for their opening statements. And so at this time, we'll enter the question phase. This is one of two opportunities that you'll have to ask questions of our candidates. So in this phase, you'll have 2 speaking privileges. You can only ask 1 question per speaking privilege. And at this time, you're wanting to ask questions that you want both candidates to answer because they'll each have 1 minute to respond to your question, but you'll have an opportunity later if you want to ask questions to a specific candidate, but not the other. And so with that, we'll start with Speaker Momini.
All right, thank you both for that. My question is going to be if you spoke with Director Boland or anybody else related to this position before today.
I have indeed told Emily about it. I've thought about it before, a couple days before the meeting when I saw it was on the agenda, and I mentioned it to Emily during our local affairs meeting, and she was all for it. That was kind of all we really had. She felt that I'd probably be a pretty good fit for it, and yeah, I think that's all I got from it.
I've not previously spoken with Director Boland about my association with this position or my intention to run for it. However, I saw it on the agenda and I felt as if someone with my extensive experience within using the public transportation system, I felt that if I would be a good representative. Thank you.
Senator Agarwal.
I know Jake already talked about some of the issues that he thought were prevalent with the SciRide. Or do you have any issues that you were thinking of bringing up?
I kind of second the issues he's mentioned. The thing is, like, My State app is not made by SciRide. It's made by, I believe, Iowa State in general. But I know we kind of mentioned it I had a meeting with Hamath and a couple of other people a couple months ago about Safe Ride, but we brought up the My State app, and we've had discussions about improving that, and just mentioned that's not really something we can do right now. Of course, I still want to tackle issues with that because it is kind of our main app for knowing things on campus, from your schedules to what dining halls are open and just even bus routes. But you can't really have the bus routes, so I kind of want to find a workaround with that. And another thing that kind of mentioned was when you might find like a bus on My State app and you're waiting for the bus stop, but when the bus comes, it's full and out of service. And I've had that issue come up a couple of times, and I've heard that from a couple other people. So I just kind of wanted to mention that to the committee and see what solutions could probably be done about that. There's a lot of brainstorming that can be done to solve a lot of small issues, and I feel like just some fresh ideas and a new person can really help with solving some of the small issues with SciRide.
I already did bring up a few things in my initial talking points, but just to reiterate, some of the 2 key issues that I really want to bring into this position are the installation of TVs in popular transfer points, like the one we have up in Upper Friley. It has, in my experience, been extremely accurate. Additionally, I would like to bring the accessibility of paper schedules, which are 99% accurate. I keep one in my backpack at all times, and I would like to keep them in other popular transfer points in small, like, plastic boxes that are wind resistant. That way we don't increase like just maps flying around everywhere, So I think that the increase in accessibility of information is what I want to bring into this position. Thank you.
Senator Kameyer.
What are some traits that you have that would make you good for the Board of Trustees, and also making sure that your goals that you have for this board can happen?
I feel like my first thing would be my communication and leadership. I've had a good relation with Emily, and just the collaboration between us two can really help kind of get our points across. And 2 minds are better than one. That's obviously going to help us to get our points across. And I didn't mention it initially, but last year, year and a half ago, my brother who went to Iowa State, he's 2 years older than me, but he worked for SciRide for 2 years, and I've kind of had an inside information on what it's like to be a bus driver, and I feel like that kind of helps me kind of understand, at least from kind of the internal SciRide perspective, what it's like to run that organization, those bus routes, and just kind of the small issues that can come up, what it's like on the daily to kind of run those routes and experience it from their perspective, because we don't usually get to see that. We just hop on the bus, kind of walk past the bus driver. You might say hi if they're nice, but just kind of, you're using it as a service, but they're providing the service, and I think it's interesting to get to know it from that perspective.
Let me tell you a story. The first time I was a freshman, I was riding Red going eastbound, I believe, towards the library, and I was completely lost. I had no idea. It was like my first week on campus, right? And the buses were empty. It was like a Saturday morning or something. So I'm a pretty social guy. Anyone who's ever talked to me knows that. I tend to be very open with my communication, the way that I talk to people. And I got to talking with the bus driver, and he was super helpful, helped me get off at the stop that I needed to, and then on the flip side, I was on the same bus. And since then, I have continually ran into him. He continues to work there, and every time I see him, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm super friendly with him, fist bumps, everything else. There's a bus driver I know who goes to the gym around the same time I do. His name's Adam. He's a really good friend of mine. So I really want to echo what Eric said. Knowing the bus drivers and the people working there is what makes me great for this position. Additionally, again, as someone without a primary mode of transportation other than a longboard, I think that the knowledge of those routes and everything else will just make me a great fit for this. So thank you, Kemmeyer.
Vice Speaker Pursley.
I know one of the hardest things to work around on the SciRide board is lack of funds, and you'll run into situations like that. So I know a lot of people have lofty goals, like Jake has some lofty goals, but I just want to hear kind of what you guys are going to do to think out of the box and get around those financial barricades.
One thing with kind of juggling around funds, just last few weeks I've been working with the asset board, working with Mindy and Heymuth on working with asset allocations. If you guys don't know what asset is, it's kind of like a joint funder situation between the City of Ames, Story County, United Way of Story County, and student government. We come together to listen to and kind of hear out various nonprofits across Story County to just kind of fund social services across the county. And part of that is, it's kind of interesting because you get to learn about all like the funding like situations and priorities outside of student government. Because I mean, from our like just learning starting this year, well, I was there 2 years ago, but this year is when I kind of got more actually involved with it. It is a lot different than our funding priorities and how we work. And learning it from an actual like governmental perspective is kind of interesting because you have a lot more loopholes and kind of other things you need to jump through. And one thing I've kind of with the paper pamphlet box, I could see some issues with public funding is kind of more interesting because kind of you have to count all residents in either Story County or Ames, because it's their money, obviously, kind of like how all of our money is student money, so we have to keep that in mind. And with paper pamphlets, there kind of becomes an issue where they may be accurate, but they can be inaccurate really quickly, because if one road has to close on a long bus route, they have to detour, and that throws off all of their schedules. And a bus driver can also get slightly mistimed, because all bus drivers have their own timing, and they can, just due to like pedestrians crossings or just some cars that takes too long, your bus can get delayed and your schedule won't be that accurate anymore. Or if a route has to close or take a different route, they have to get rid of all their old schedules and print new ones. That's a lot of money that I don't know if they'd be willing to spend, versus like digital signage, which can be updated pretty much instantly and doesn't cost any extra. So I feel like that's kind of a good point to take into account if we bring that up to them at all. Thank you.
First of all, I appreciate the question. Financial matters are always really important, especially when we're dealing with public transportation like this. I believe that with proper allocation of money, there's probably things that we can do financially to work our way around such barriers. I know we were talking about paper pamphlets, so I'm just going to run back that real quick. SciRide Maps gets replaced each semester already. There already exist such infrastructure, like the little, right behind the driver, there are always little pamphlet boxes with about 20 of them in each bus. If you've ever bothered to look, they always get replaced. I, again, try to keep the most current one in. But I think that if we appeal to Ames City Council and make the case that this is for the public good, both for the Ames community and the cyclones that surround it, that we can work and find a solution. Thank you.
Senator Jones.
How will you connect with students to get their opinions and concerns and survey the students to make sure they're hearing their concerns?
I think, quote me, well, Emily might know this. Does SciRide already have kind of a public interest form? So yes. Did you want to talk about it? Okay. Could I yield her timer or can I not?
It's a phenomenal question, Senator Rolls. I may advise you to use your opening or your next, remaining 30 seconds to speak as you wish.
Okay, I'll just kind of go upon that. But SciRide has a public interest form already out there, and that's one avenue we can go on to get public interest. And I think local affairs could even make its own public interest form to just gauge interest from students. And there's a lot of other ideas we could brainstorm out there, but just collaboration with current community members. And Emily, I just feel like there's a lot of different avenues we can go down to gauge interest and gather information that I feel like we can get a pretty good outcome, I feel like. Just public community interest, forums, we could even do like polling locations maybe. Not like polling, but surveys. I feel like there's a ton of options we could do, but thank you.
If there's one takeaway that I want you to get from my speech, and even if you do not end up selecting me for this position, it's that I'd like for you to know that I'm just here for the improvement of our public transportation system, right? So as someone who rides the bus every day, right, the discussion with bus drivers, people you know, people you see, I mean, I take the same route home every day after lunch and I see the same people and I'm starting to get to know them, right? Like the idea is if you see somebody consistently enough, like I will as someone who consistently rides the bus, even if it's a different route, you can make those connections. Additionally, I love Eric's ideas of polling places, using the bus stops or something along those lines with like a mini paper QR code and spreading that interest form and the accessibility of that interest form. That's a fantastic idea. I would love to work on projects like that on the SciRide board. Thank you.
Senator Shin.
So talking to someone who is in a higher position than you or have more experience than you can be difficult, and I know you guys are probably going to go through that. Are you guys ready to talk to them, and how do you think, and how will you be approaching the people above you and trying to convey your ideas to them?
Personally, I feel like I don't have many issues with talking to people that are higher up than me. It's just kind of how I work socially, is I see the person as who they are rather than their title. And I feel like that's a good way to kind of approach that communication. Obviously, you should probably have more respect for that person and probably not use as much slang or whatever, be professional. But just being yourself is a really nice way to keep yourself on an equal playing field and getting your points across as much as you can. And I have had experience on the assets, like I mentioned, talking with people that are the president of organizations that fund like $750,000 to $1 million to certain organizations, and 2 million. And I personally don't see any issues with communicating people with higher than that. But yeah, thank you.
I would approach them with humility. You're right. We are new members for this board of trustees. But the biggest thing is that we represent the student body, right? And that the amount of people behind us, we have to be able to speak our voice. Yes, we have to have respect and humility, but we also must be willing to speak up and have our own opinions that represent the people around us, you all around us, right? Approaching people with power is no different than approaching anyone else. You just have to think about the way that you're going to introduce yourself. It's less about them, more about you. You'd approach them as anyone else, frankly. Humility, respect. Thank you.
All right, so if there were any further questions, it would require a motion to extend debate. We're exactly at the 15-minute limit for the questioning phase, so if there are any strong desires to continue, otherwise we'll move on to the next phase. All right, without objection, then we'll move into the debate phase. No objection. I would kindly ask our candidates to leave the room for just a moment. You all will have an opportunity to deliberate amongst yourselves. And so once again, the debate phase is limited to 15 minutes, subject to a motion to extend debate. And so as you normally would for Senate debate, you'll have 2 5-minute speaking privileges. This is your opportunity to talk about the candidates without them in your presence and talk about anything that they said during their speeches. And we'll start off with Vice Speaker Pursley.
For our newer senators, I would like to mention that Eric has run for Cyride Board before, so I think that really shows his dedication to wanting to be on this board. He's run for it before, and unfortunately he didn't win that time, but I do really think that he shows a lot of interest in it, and his time on Asset shows that he can work with those leaders and help represent the students of Iowa State. So I would like you guys to keep that in mind, and yeah, I yield.
Senator Iono Dimhoff.
I would also like to echo and also show support for Senator Wells. Spending time working with him on the local affairs committee, I've gotten to know him a lot better, and I have seen through that committee his dedication to the different projects that he puts himself towards, and I believe that his experience with Asset and his commitment to local affairs makes him very well prepared for this position.
Speaker Momini, did you have something? Could see you on the edge there.
I'm just gonna say that I think that every single one of the senators that sit in front of me are qualified for any position that they feel confident enough to run for. I think that they both have good qualities. I'm gonna put some support behind Rawls. I think he's very level-headed and he is very committed to the projects that he wants to get behind. So either way, I think we will be putting a good representative to the committee, but I've seen Rawls be very passionate and dedicated to his projects, and I think that's important with something as big as Cyride.
Senator Shin.
I yield my time to Hamif.
Hello, everyone. I know it's a bit awkward, but I would like to put my backing behind Senator Rawls, as he has shown a lot of commitment towards Cyride, specifically by being a part of the Safe Ride project that I started and having been very passionate and putting a lot of effort into it and putting a lot of ideas within the Cyride, into the Cyride, the Safe Ride and Cyride project, and is very passionate about it and has talked multiple times to me about how he has in the past tried to work with Cyride, tried to come up with ideas and try to improve Cyride. So I think he's somebody that has shown time and time again that he has commitment towards this and wants to put forward. He's somebody that would put his best foot forward. Nothing against Jake, but I think Rawls has shown more has been able to show a lot more commitment to this compared to Jake has. That's just my standing on this.
All right, with that, any further debate on the nominees before we invite them back in? Seeing none without objections, we'll move on to the next phase. Are you able to? Perfect, thank you so much. Once we have them back in here in a moment, I'll explain roughly how the clarification phase will go. All right, thank you very much, and welcome back to our nominees. And so with that, we'll move into the clarification phase. Again, this is limited to 15 minutes. But now, once again, you'll have 2 5-minute speaking privileges, and in that time, you can direct questions to both senators, as you did before, or one in particular if you have a question for one of the nominees but not the other. So with that, the floor is open for any clarifying questions. Senator Iono Dimhoff.
My question's for Senator Snyder. Just out of curiosity, if you were to get this position, would you possibly join the Local Affairs Committee?
Any more association with local affairs and especially Director Boland, because if I were to get this position, to work with her would be appreciated. I know that you guys meet today, which is a bit of a weird time. I get out of class at, I believe, 4:30, and I think you guys meet then. But so, yes, with the intention of it, depending on meeting time, absolutely.
Right, any other clarifying questions? Seeing none, without objection, we'll end the clarification phase. Seeing no objections, we'll move into closing comments, and so you each will have 2 minutes, once again in the order in which you were nominated, to share any closing thoughts you would like with the Senate. This time, I'll tap my gavel when you have about 10 seconds remaining in your 2 minutes. So, Senator Rolls, if we can start with you.
All right. I just kind of wanted to talk about SciRide in general. I really do like SciRide and being on. I've already had meetings with SciRide. God, I've kind of getting out over here. I'll kind of talk about my meetings with SciRide I've had. I had to talk with I think one board member and then the director of SciRide. They were both really nice. We had a really nice conversation about Moonlight Express and SciRide, as well as kind of talking in with Safe Ride, because kind of going on with Heymuth, I kind of was interested in kind of the expansion of SciRide, SciRide's Moonlight Express, because there was issues with Safe Ride and kind of getting to get students the service they need to kind of get off campus late at night. And just kind of that idea has really stuck with me, because it's really important to actually kind of have students have a reliable source of transportation on and off campus. And I feel like SciRide is kind of the literal main source of that, because obviously, kind of like Jake said, he doesn't have a car, and a lot of students don't have cars, especially a lot of graduate students and students from out of state. They don't have reliable access to transportation, or they just have to ask their friends for rides, and I don't feel like they should be relying on that. Because if it's not available, they shouldn't be relying on it. But with SciRide, it's already a decently reliable transportation service, and working with the board of directors and Emily, as well as kind of our committee members, to kind of expand upon SciRide and make it more reliable and better for our students is kind of my main priority as I think about this role. And thank you for your guys' consideration. It's always nice to be up here.
I just would like to start out that initially, regardless of your decision on who you select to appoint to this board, SciRide is for Ames community and Cyclones alike. I just would like to reiterate that as someone who uses SciRide consistently, I have the knowledge for this position. I have the drive to get my goals completed, and I appreciate your consideration for this position. Thank you.
All right, well, once again, thank you very much to both of you for your comments this evening. And so, unlike a traditional bill, there are no author closing comments on this. But the way floor elections work is we'll move into a vote. And so when I call your name, you'll be able to vote for either senator, or you may abstain. And the way this works is we'll start on the first ballot. If no one receives a majority, we move on to a second ballot and take off the person who received fewer votes. So a little bit different situation with 2 people, but you could still not receive a majority if there were enough abstentions, which is why I bring that up. And so once again, you could move yourself down on the roll if you wish. So with that, we'll move on to ballot number 1, starting with Iono Dimhoff. Moran. Rahman. Rolls. Reinhardt. Marcus. Jones. Helzer. O'Connor. Jin. Utica. Howland. Nievenhoven. Kuhn. Azan. Fair enough. Kameyer. Hartley. Agarwal. Jamsai. Berger. Snyder.
Abstain.
Momini. Nondal. James. Bailey. Pardon? And thank you. Johnson. Dugan. Neal. Loop. Persley. And Cronin. Am I correct? Then I have called everyone on the roll. Thank you. That's why I ask. Kameyer. And Agarwal. With that, have I checked off everyone currently on the roll? In that case, one moment while we double check our tally. All right, and so I did mention this as a possibility. With that, Senator Rolls has received 13 votes, Senator Snyder has received 11, and 7 people have abstained. So 31 members present, that would take a 16 majority. And so no one has received a majority. Unfortunately, Senator Snyder will remove you from the roll. You will vote again with the option of Senator Rolls or abstain. I didn't make the rules. All right. Apologies for the extra vote. For procedure's sake, we'll do a quick ballot number 2, starting with Iono Dimhoff. Moran. So your options would be voting for Senator Rolls or abstaining.
Oh, Rolls or abstain? Okay.
Correct. Abstain? Senator abstain, Moran? Rahman. Rolls.
Abstain.
Reinhardt. Marcus. Jones. Helzer. O'Connor. Jin. Utica. Allen. Evenhoven. Kuhn. Azan. Kameyer. Hartley. Agarwal. Jamsai. Berger, Snyder, Momini, Nondal. Getting to notice a trend. James, Bailey, Johnson, Dugan, Neal, Loop, Persley, and Cronin. All right, once again, thank you for your patience here. With a final vote of 28-3, Senator Rolls has been elected to the Cyride Board of Trustees. All right, and so with that, we're inserting Senator Rolls' name onto the final bill. All right, and so with that, we do have to now pass this bill as a whole. Excuse me, folks. All right, and so we're now back on the bill as a whole. Senator Rolls' name has been inserted, and we do have to vote on the bill as a whole to pass it. The motion to end debate. Is there a second? Any objections to ending debate at this time? Seeing none, moving to a vote on the bill as a whole. UC could be called for. UC has been called for. Appreciate it. UC has been called for. Are there any objections to passing the bill as a whole by way of unanimous consent? Seeing no objections, congratulations, Senator Rolls. The motion carries. All right, with that, we've completed our second read business for this evening. With that, we'll, pardon me, skipped over our last minute addition there. Next on special orders is item 2025-3-002SG, seating a senator to the Rules Committee with Speaker Momini.
Yeah, so I mentioned this earlier. Senator Marcus has already been attending our rules committees. He's a great addition, participates. I'll let him do the rest.
All right. Yeah, I attended Rules Committee, obviously, originally, as I assume everyone had, of just before we came here to become officially senators, and I kind of enjoyed that process, at least. It was a little intimidating from my end, but from their end, it seemed fun, and it seemed like something I'd be interested in doing. And so after I became a senator, Rules was one of my top options to look into, and seeing as they had an open seat, I attended a meeting of theirs, and I decided that it is something I'm passionate towards doing, and so I would like to be placed onto that committee.
All right, and so with that, the floor is open for any discussion. Is there a second? Moved and seconded to end debate at this time. Are there any objections to doing so? No objections. Any closing comments with Speaker Momini? UC has been called for. Are there any objections to passing this nominee by way of unanimous consent? No objections. Congratulations. The motion carries. Thank you. And so with that, we've now completed our business for this evening, and we'll move into new business, starting with item 2025-3-001F, Puerto Rican Night event funding with Senator Kammeier.
All right. Hi, everyone. So this is just as a reminder so that no one embarrasses themselves. This is a first read, so don't call to question. Okay. I wrote this bill back in December, so I had to pull it up again to remember what it said. Basically, this was a funding request that came in. Maybe some of you remember when we approved funding for the Puerto Rican Student Association before. This was just a part that was pulled out of that original bill, and we're going to do it separate because it's for this specific event. So if you have any questions, let me know.
With that, the floor is open for any questions of intent. All right, seeing no questions of intent, thank you. We'll vote on this item next week. We'll then move on to item 2025-3-002F, Cyclone Stampede event funding, again with Senator Kammeier.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's me again. So this one is for the annual rodeo led by the Iowa State Rodeo Club. It does cost quite a bit, but for those of you who have been to it or have heard about it, you know that they are really good at what they do. But if you have any questions, again, let me know.
Floor is open for questions of intent, starting with Vice Speaker Pursley.
Will there be a representative for this club next week here?
So, no. Point of information, not next week, but 2 weeks.
Okay.
Would you be able to repeat the question?
Yes, will there be a representative for this club?
There you go.
Perfect.
All right, Senator Verriger.
Will they be able to elaborate what etc. may entail under line items?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Speaker Momini.
So will we be tabling this next week?
Point of information, I can only say yes or no.
You can say I don't know.
I guess point of information, it'll be tabled in finance. Only for 1 week because of the bill that the
Gotcha.
PNC changes.
Okay, thank you.
A little messy, but I think we got there. I think we got there on those questions. Any further questions of intent on this item? Right, seeing none, it sounds like it'll come back 2 weeks from now. And with that, we've completed our business for this evening, and so the floor is open for general closing announcements. Pardon? Getting back into the flow of it tonight, I apologize. Once again, I almost skipped over the additional item we added when we were amending the agenda. Again, on first read tonight, 2025-3-003F, considering the priorities and criteria for FY26 with Senator Nievenhoven.
These are our new funding priorities and criteria. There's not many major changes in there, and if you notice, it's 2 pages longer just because we changed the outline so it's easier to read.
Any questions of intent? Senator Azan.
Point of information, I made the bill like 3 minutes before Senate started, so I will get that fixed for you guys hopefully tomorrow. The link working for you guys.
Any further questions of intent? Right, seeing none, this document will return next week to vote on. With that, we've now completed our new business items for this evening, and I would like to open the floor for any general closing announcements. All right, so seeing none, I don't have very much to share for closing announcements. I think President Hirsch did a great job of summing up all the exciting things we have working right now. I think it's going to be a great semester. Really want to encourage you guys. You know, inauguration is coming up, but at the same time, you have a significant amount of time left to work on the projects that you want to complete and finish up the things that you want to finish up. I would just add, like President Hirsch was saying in that email that was sent out, please RSVP for inauguration. That will take place on April 21st, but if you're able to sign up sooner rather than later, it helps us with catering and some other logistics like that. Similarly, there's a form on there that has 2 separate questions for our joint meetings. So again, with the City Council, that will be occurring on March 26th, and with the Faculty Senate on February 17th. That's something new we're doing this semester. We're really excited to have a platform to talk with these faculty senators about the things that matter to us about student academics. And so please be sure and fill that out sooner rather than later so we know that you're attending those. And then lastly, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but I would again like to thank Hema for his service as a senator. Truly, I really have been inspired by the amount of work you've done for students, and it's been a pleasure to have you in this body. And we're sorry to see you go, but we're happy to continue to have you in student government. So I've really been impressed with your service, Hema, and we really do appreciate it. And with that, I yield to the Vice Speaker.
Okay, so since we didn't have school on Monday and on Tuesday was online, I'm going to waive your office hour requirement this week. So office hours begins next week, so do your office hours next week. But if you want to stop by the office this week, I'm sure people will still be there and it'll be fun to see everyone. So yeah, starts next week.
All right, I am still going through the attendance records. If you are going to miss, be late, or leave early, you need to inform primarily Quinn, but myself as well, because it's nice to know. And if you do not, there are nonfeasances associated with that. So if you occurred some of those last session, you will be getting an email from me most likely by Friday. Also, if you did not do your outreach credits or are not on a committee, you should also be receiving an email from me, possibly an invitation for Rules Committee. That's not very fun, but I'm very sorry anyways in advance in case. With that, Rules Committee has an opening. If you would like to sit on my committee, it is so fun, I think. Thank you to Pedasani for his service on the committee. He was insightful, and you have some big shoes to fill. Not feel. Anyways, that's all I got. I yield to Finance Director Evan.
I say thank you to Senator Pedasani. He did great work on the Finance Committee as well. We got a lot of good stuff done last semester, and I wish him best of luck on his whatever his next steps are. But I do want to say that does mean we have an opening position in Finance Committee. Here soon, we're going to be getting our annual allocation process. So that's where we meet with all of the clubs that are eligible for funding, and we go one by one through their requested budget. So it's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's a lot of good work. So we'll take all of the help we can and all the input we can. So if any of you are interested in joining us in that process, please let me know. And we'd love to have you.
With that, we are adjourned.
Cyclones.
See you next week.